Hello, everybody. I can prepare for my probability tests by practicing. So, let's talk about the formulas that you need to know. P of A or B equals P of A plus P of B minus P of A and B. P of A and B equals P of A plus P of B minus P of A or B. P of A and B equals P of A times P of B. Yeah, those are your formulas you need to know. Or, if you see or, we use the or formula. If you see and, we use the and formula. If you see and it says independent, then we use the independent formula. And again, in this formula, this is your or, this is your and. So your key words are or and and. If you're finding or, you're subtracting and. If you're finding and, you're subtracting or. And if it's and independent, P of A and B equals P of A times P of B. And that same formula we use if we're determining whether events are independent. So number one, when it says what's the probability that Chloe shows up in both, well, both means and. So P of A and B equals. Does it say anything about independent in the problem? No. So it's P of A plus P of B minus P of A or B. So P of A, let's let that be Schlansky, that's 12 over 19. P of B, 10 over 17. Or is 12 over 16. From here, I just pop that into the calculator. Alpha x, 12 over 19 plus 10 over 17 minus 12 over 16, 607 over 1292. And that's your answer. Leave it as a fraction. Keep it simple. If it wants and, P of A plus P of B minus P of A or B. Number two, I'm looking for my keywords. It wants and. I just did and. So let's take a look at another one. Um, Number three, it's looking for and. Do I see independent? Yes. So I use my independent formula. P of A and B equals P of A times P of B. With percents, we always want to make it multiplication. P of A is 0.48. P of B is 0.25. 0.48 times 0.25 is 0.12. You can leave it as 0.12. You can make it back into a percent. I would leave it as a decimal, just to keep it simple. And this one is asking for or. So if it's asking for or, P of A or B equals P of A plus P of B minus P of A and B. 127 over 466 plus 82 over 466 minus and 74 over 466. Pop it into the calculator. 127 over 466 plus 82 over 466 minus 74 over 466, 135 over 466. So that's how you use your and or formulas. Or is your or formula, you're subtracting and you're subtracting or, unless it says and it says independent, in which case we use our independent formula. So you'll see 3 of those. Now we move on to two-way tables. This is like the bulk of this unit right here. Let me just get this to fit. There's 4 circumstances. We call them circumstance 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll talk about all of them. So I'm going to start by totaling everything up. This is 35. This is, I don't know, 9. Carry the 1, 109. This is 202. I'm going to use my calculator to do this. 4 plus 37 plus 68. This is 109. 6 plus 25 plus 87, 118. 25 plus 47 plus 157, that's 229. Total, 456. So, if you see and, it's over the total. If you see one thing, it's over the total. If you see given that, it's conditional, and the condition comes last after the word given. And if there's 2 things, and there's no keyword, then it's conditional, and the condition comes first. So that's your 4 circumstances. So let's take a look now. A, I see given. I know when I see given, it's conditional. That's my condition, 23 to 60. Out of the 229 people, how many text over 50? 157. B, and when I see and, it's over my total. Out of the 456, how many are 15 to 18 and 11 to 50? 37. The person texts 0 to 10 messages per month. That's just one thing, so it's over the total. And out of those 456 people, how many text 0 to 10? 35. And let's just do one more bonus question. Find the probability someone 19 to 22 texts 0 to 10. Well, if there's 2 things and there's no keywords, it's conditional, and the condition comes first. So 19 to 22 would be the condition. Out of the 118 people, 6 of them text 0 to 10. So those are your 4 circumstances. And is not conditional. It's over your total. One thing is not conditional. It's over your total. If you see given, it definitely is conditional, and the condition comes last. If there's 2 things, 19 to 22, 0 to 10, there is no keyword, the condition comes first. If they ask you a question based on that, but there is no two-way table, you create a two-way table by doing yes and no on each axis. So I'm talking about girls and honors. So I'm going to have girls, not girls. I'm going to have honors, not honors. Don't forget your total and total. And now I start filling the numbers in. There's 30 students. That's your total. 16 girls. This piece of information says nothing about honors. There are 16 girls, so 16 is your total for girls. 12 is your total for honors. There are 10 honor students that are girls. That means that 10 are honors and girls. This is the cell for honors and girls. End comes from the inside of the table. So now I can fill in all the missing pieces by adding and subtracting. Now that I have that, I see given, the condition comes last. So I'm looking at the girls. Out of the 16 girls, how many are not honors? 6. And that's it. To create a two-way table, yes and no on one axis for one thing, yes and no on the other for the other. Put the information in. If there's ever a percent, the total would be 100. If it's a decimal, it would be 1. Number 11, it's asking for independent. P of A and B equals P of A times P of B. Yeah, that is your independence formula. Total everything up, 100, 25, 50, 75, 125. What's great about this formula is that the total is always your denominator for all three. That really makes this a very simple question. Let's choose what we want A and B to be. Let's go female and credit card. It doesn't matter what you choose. I like to circle the A and the B. A and B is what's in both. That's 60. P of A, female, is 75. P of B, credit card, is 100. I type the left-hand side in. 60 over 125 is 12 over 25. I type the right-hand side in. 75 over 125 times 100 over 125, 12 over 25. They are equal. This is the formula for independence. This is the rule for independence. If this is true, they're independent. This is true, so they are independent. I know it says explain. It shouldn't say explain. It should just say justify, and that's what we just did. There's nothing to explain. So for independent, use your independence formula. Your denominator is a total for all three. Choose, in this case, a gender, a type of payment. If it says to use specific values, then use the specific values. If it doesn't, then don't. Which brings us to normally distributed. When we see normally distributed, that's when we do normal CDF. Lower, upper, mu, sigma. So I've got mean is 1450, that's my mu. I've got standard deviation is 8.5, that's my sigma. Between 1440 and 1465, that's my lower and my upper. I pop that into the calculator. Second vars, option 2, normal CDF. Lower is 1440, upper is 1465, mean is 1450, sigma is 8.5, enter, 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 I get 0.8415, let's just write 0.841 dot dot dot. Now there's three ways this can end. If it's asking for a probability, we're done. We're done. If it asks for a percent, I would multiply it by 100. And if it asked me for a quantity, I would multiply by the total quantity. So instead of going over a couple more, I'm just going to show you a couple more. We see in number 14, I did my lower upper mu sigma. When we see more than, my upper is 9,999, and my lower is that value. It asks for a percent, so I multiply by 100. And in number 15, it said less than a 70, so my lower is negative infinity, negative 9,999. My upper is that value. Once I got my decimal, because it's asking for how many, I multiply by my total quantity, which was 248. So again, if it asks you for a probability, like number 13, you're done. If it asks you for a percent, you multiply by 100. If it asks you for a quantity, you multiply by the total quantity. If it's less than a certain value, then your lower is negative 99999. If it's more than a certain value, your upper is positive 99999. All right, back to this. That's it for probability. There are going to be some old topics on your exam. I see variables in the problem. I see variables in the answers. Your go-to should be your multiple choice strategy. I type in the original problem. I'm going to make sure I have a value stored for x. It's only one variable, so I'm not going to bother with y. Minus 4x squared plus 8x to the third minus 32x plus 12x squared minus 48. I get 18432. Now I'm going to type in each choice. I need to go through all four choices. It's possible that more than one of them may match up. So let's start with x squared minus 4, x squared plus 7x plus 12. That gives me 17472. So if that doesn't match up, I can copy and paste this and just change the plus 7k to plus 8k. There's my 18432, but I'm going to go through the rest of the choices. I've got x plus 2, x minus 2, x plus 3, x plus 4, 17472. I'm going to copy and paste that and just change the 3 and 4 to a 6 and a 2. And I get 18432. So two of them match. So this is out and this is out. Completely factored. Which one is completely factored? Which one cannot be factored further? Choice 4. Because this is dots and this is a trinomial. Let's go over this by hand now. There's more than 4 terms. The first thing I look for is GCF. There is no GCF. There's more than 4 terms, so it's grouping. So the group ends when the pattern of exponents ends. I'm going down by 2. That's where it resets. GCF of the first group is k squared. Second group is 8k. Third group is 12. So I have k squared minus 4 plus 8k, k squared minus 4 plus 12, k squared minus 4. I combine my coefficients, k squared plus 8k plus 12, k squared minus 4. Can I factor further? Yes. Is there a GCF? No. Try 3 terms, trinomial, k and k. First sign comes down, positive and positive is positive. Multiplies to 12, adds to 8, that's 6 and 2. Is there a GCF? No. 2 terms, dots, yes. 2 sets of parentheses, plus and minus, square root of each, k and k, 2 and 2. It's a little out of order, that's okay. Choice 4 is your answer. 18. Again, I see variables in the problem, variables in the answers. I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to type in each value. So the top, I've got cubed root. That was alpha window to get to the root. X squared times the regular square root. So I do second radical. X to the 5th over the 6th root. Alpha window 6. 6th root of x. I get 1,000. I type in each answer. I've got x 10, x to the 3 halves, not 1,000. x to the third, there's my 1,000. X to the 10, that's not 1,000. Choice 3 is the answer. Or, radicals are fractional exponents. Yep, I see radicals. I rewrite them as fractional exponents, power over the root. There is no root. The root is 2. If there is no power, it's 1. Get rid of parentheses. Nope. Negative exponents are fractions. Nope. Clean it up, MD. Yes, I see multiplication. When I'm multiplying, I add my exponents. So I'm adding 2/3 plus 5/2. We're not really good in Westbury. If you're in Westbury at adding fractions, that's okay. We can just use the calculator to do it. 2/3 plus 5/2 is 19/6 over x to the 1/6. D, divide. Yes, I see division. When I'm dividing, I subtract my exponents. 19/6 minus 1/6. 19/6 minus, oops, 19/6 minus 1/6 is 3. So my answer is x to the third. Again, I would just use multiple choice strategy, but we've talked about this open response. If it's open response, you definitely need to be able to do what we just did. All right, I see a word problem. I'm looking for a key word. Boom, total. Sn equals a1 minus a1 r to the n over 1 minus r. a1 r n. First month, 42 times. That's my a1. 10% less. Not 0.10. 1 minus 0.10, 0.90. R for these questions, you're almost always adding or subtracting to 1. If it's more, it's 1 plus. If it's less, it's 1 minus. First 4 months, that's n. S of 4 equals 42 minus 42. R is 0.9 to the power of 4 over 1 minus 0.9. Type the whole thing in. 42 minus 42. 0.9 to the power of 4 over 1 minus 0.9. 144 to the nearest integer, and that's your answer. You see total, we do Sn, and R, if you're increasing or decreasing by 1%, you're adding it or subtracting it to 1. I'm not going to do 21, but if it says increases by 2.5%, R is 1.025. That's the most common mistake students make. Yep, sign, freak X, shift. It's multiple choice. If it's multiple choice, this should be easy. This should not take you more than about 5 seconds. Is this sine or cosine positive or negative? I can just do a rough sketch of the midline there. It starts at the midline and goes up, so it's a positive sign. So 1 and 2 are out. I'm sorry, I can't do this in about 2 seconds, but I can do it in a little bit more than 2 seconds. I'm left with choices 3 and 4. They both have the same amplitude and the same midline, so I can't just eyeball it. They have different frequencies. Well, frequency is 2 pi over the period. So I'm going to have to find the frequency using 2 pi over the period. The period is where the first full wave ends. Midline, max, midline, min, midline. This is where your wave ends. This is your period. So it's 2 pi over 12. That reduces to pi over 6. I'm looking for a frequency of pi over 6. There it is. There's your answer. To find the frequency, frequency is 2 pi over the period. What else we got? We got a frozen screen is what we got. We've got an unfrozen screen. Blah, blah, blah. F of x equals g of x. When I see f of x equals g of x, that's my y1, y2 intersect. Make sure your calculator is in radian mode. In this course, you're always in radian mode. Y1, I have 4 sine 2 parentheses x minus 4 plus 3. I have 4 ln x plus 3. There should be in parentheses, that's my bad. Zoom 6. I'm looking for a solution. Let's make it a little bigger. Second trace, intersect. Try and move it close. It doesn't really look like there's much of an issue here. It looks like it's just one. Enter, enter, enter. X coordinate. Whenever you're doing this, always, always, always X coordinate, 2.03. Never the X comma Y, always the X coordinate for f of X equals G of X for Y1, Y2 intersect, and that's it. Again, these are commonly asked Regents review questions. And finally, I think this is the last one. Average rate of y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. It has to tell you what you're finding the average rate of change between. And if they give you an equation, you just type it into y equals. So I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to clear this stuff out. I've got negative 3 cosine 2x plus 1. I go to my table. I'm looking for negative 1. That's 2.2484. 2.2484. I've got 4, 1.4365. Y2 minus Y1, bottom minus top, 1.4365 minus 2.2484 over 4 minus negative 1. Alpha x, 1.4365 minus 2.2484 over 4 minus negative 1, not 4 minus 1, 4 minus negative 1, negative 0.16 to the nearest hundredth. Again, another very commonly asked Regents question. That's not hard. And that's it. So, review topics, average rate of change, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, f of x equals g of x, y1, y2 intersect, amp sign freq x shift. You are going to have to use frequency equals 2 pi over the period. Total Sn, that formula will be given to you. Multiple choice strategy or radicals or fractional exponents, multiple choice strategy or factoring, normally distributed, normal CDF, multiply by 100 for a percent, multiply by total quantity for the quantity, independent, P of A and B equals P of A times P of B. Your denominator is your total for all of them. To build a two-way table, yes and no for each of them. Given a two-way table, and is over your total, one thing is over your total. Given the condition comes last, two things, no keywords, the condition comes first. And you know your and or formulas. For and, you're subtracting or. For or, you're subtracting and. But for and independent, it's P of A and B equals P of A times P of B. That's it. Practice it or don't. Somebody's got to get the scholarships. If you want that to be you, then practice it so you can get a good grade. Goodbye.